Today we gotta talk about a cryptocurrency that we here on this channel have so far never even mentioned, even though it has been part of our analytics portfolio for quite some time yet. And it is definitely one of the coins with the highest potential and also a great track record so far over the last couple of years. So it's definitely time that we gotta take a close look at SUI. Hello and welcome to another video by HKCM Global. My name is Joe, and if you're wondering, this setup here is not my regular studio. Obviously, we are currently as a company away at a company trip in Croatia, but I did not want to miss the chance of pushing out another video here for you. So today we are talking at SUI. I don't know if you're familiar with SUI. It's a cryptocurrency that has gained quite a bit of popularity in recent times due to its amazing performance, and it has been part of our analytics portfolio for quite some time yet. So under our analyses, we of course have the altcoins here, and here we have also SUI as one amongst many that we analyze on a daily basis. And we are now jumping directly into SUI because it is pretty remarkable what SUI managed to pull off. So if we jump over to CoinMarketCap, for example, it kind of happened without me really noticing. So it really snuck up quite nicely into the almost top 10 yet. So currently SUI is sitting at a number 11 of market capitalization at currently 13 billion of total market cap. So it is one of the most important players currently. And that's no wonder if you will take just a look at its recent performance, especially compared against other high-performing cryptocurrencies. So for example, I mean, Ethereum doesn't need no introduction. Neither does Solana, here sitting at a rank 6. But what is really interesting is as soon as you start comparing Ethereum and Solana against SUI, the following happens. So here you see the Ethereum chart, and as an interested investor, obviously you do know that Ethereum has been in this volatile, aggressive downtrend for quite some time yet, and only recently managed to break out of this downtrend, and it did so with quite a bit of violence. So Ethereum from the bottom at the low 1400s has now currently pulled off a massive 85% gains, but we're not talking about Ethereum today, because what is all the way more interesting to me is what happens if you divide Ethereum by Solana. Solana, obviously, huge outperformer over this cycle so far, and that becomes even more obvious here. So if we pull this then to a larger time frame, you can see here that Ethereum against Solana has been in quite a downtrend as well. So only this recent violent spike of Ethereum managed to get just barely back to this trend line of Ethereum trending down against Solana. But we're not here today to talk about Solana. Rather, we're here to talk about SUI. And what SUI did against Solana is all that more interesting, because the chart of SUI against Solana looks like the complete inversion of the chart with Ethereum. So meaning, whilst Ethereum massively trended down against Solana, so Solana outperformed Ethereum by quite a bit, the opposite is true of SUI with Solana. So SUI massively outperformed Solana. So we had this absolutely massive, aggressive, violent rise here, all the way from levels of 0.02 up to 0.17. And even without this absolutely aggressive spike here, you can see that in recent times we have been in a bit of a correction. But even without this massive spike, still in the long run, we're in an absolute solid uptrend of SUI against Solana. Meaning, while Solana was so far a champion of this bull market cycle, SUI even outperformed this champion of Solana by quite a substantial margin. And so if we then jump into the overreaching time frame here for SUI, you can see that overall we estimate that we are currently in the early beginning stages of a wave 3 that is currently about to unfold. Meaning, so far we have established a wave 1 top all the way back in February of 2024 in SUI, and so far we reckon we have seen an A, B, C correction, completing the wave 2 low then here on August of 2024. And ever since, we have been in the first upwave of this underlying or overreaching, shall I say, wave 3 to unfold. So this here is the 1, 2, 3 wave of a 5-wave count, completing this following wave 3, which would follow this red 2 here in brackets. And we have also within this wave 3 here established a target zone that has successfully been hit, but I'll show you that in just a couple of seconds on the more imminent time frame. But still here on the midterm to long-term time frame, we do, as you're familiar with, also have an alternative scenario currently marked at a 30% probability of this wave 2 that we've established here in our primary count of not yet being in, but rather the wave 2 low as still being in the making. And for this, of course, we would need an alternative wave B here. So in opposition to our primary wave 1 top here, we would need an alternative wave B here. And this would then lead to this alternative C wave that still would need to unfold. But as long as we remain to stay above this $1.74 mark, that is not a scenario that you should worry about. I'm only communicating it to you because I have to communicate to you what we see in the charts. And that, as of now, still is a technical possibility. A low possibility, here only at 30%, but it technically still is possible. But then back to our primary count and to the more imminent time frame, because I just told you that here we have established a target zone that was successfully hit. And if we then now look at this more imminent count, you can see here the wave 2 low, as you remember, back here on our broader outlook, the wave 2 low, that's the one that you see here. Here we have the same wave 2 low, and ever since we have seen the course as in a 1, 2 and another underlying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves move so far, completing this overreaching wave 3, which would be followed by, of course, another wave 4 corrective mode, followed and completed then by a final wave 5 upwards move again. And if we closely look at this target zone here, it becomes all the more apparent why it is so crucial to work with limit orders and to also subscribe to this analysis and not just wait for some YouTube videos. Because if we take a very close look at this target zone here, you can see that after developing this wave 3 top here with an ending diagonal leading into this wave C low, and if I apply here the magnifying glass, because you can really barely see how we hit the target zone, you can see here that we just so shortly, ever so slightly dipped into this target zone. So we just dipped into this target zone here by a total of 0.22%. So enough to get yourself into the trade. That's why you would work with a limit order here after having received our target zone and after getting our daily updates as a subscriber to the altcoin package. You would have, of course, here placed your limit order. And ever since we ever so slightly dipped into this target zone here, we had this violent reaction to this target zone and are currently already 25% up. And I just wanted to show you this because it really resembles and exemplifies the importance of these Elliott Wave target zones. There is market reaction to be expected. If you properly place a target zone, there is violent market reaction to be expected. And that's a picture perfect example what we saw here in SUI. But to give you then, of course, the full picture, also here, same as on our long-term outlook. Here we had a long-term to mid-term alternative scenario. On the short-term outlook, we also likewise have an alternative scenario. This, however, is a different one. We are here not talking about an alternative C wave to the overreaching big wave 2 low, but we're rather talking about an alternative C wave for the underlying alternative wave 2. So this wave 2 here that you can see on our imminent outlook that we established in April of 2025, this primary wave 2 low here could be invalidated if we were to drop below those $2.02. And this we currently have at a 29% probability. So even a lower probability still as in our mid to long term alternative scenario, here in the short term alternative scenario, but still technically an alternative count that so far still would be possible were we to drop below this $2.02. But as long as we stay above that marker, there's no reason to worry about it at all. And if you are a subscriber already, and if you placed your limit order here, you know the drill. As soon as we gray out a target zone like we did here, we usually recommend to pull a stop loss order here directly at the entry where you went into the trade, meaning even if the course was to not follow our primary scenario, which we estimate at a over 70% likelihood, you would still not lose a single dime because you have placed your stop loss order here and you would just get stopped out. And if the market then was to follow through with this alternative scenario, you would then get the opportunity to get into SUI again at a far lower cost and have all that more potential in the future with the long-term development that we have placed here for SUI, because the long-term outlook, even in the alternative scenario, remains the same. The overall bullish structure so far would not be broken. It's just a matter of how far we are already advanced in this bullish count of this overreaching wave 3, which still would be to unfold. So if that was of any interest to you, and if you want to get those updates on a daily basis on all the markets of your own choosing, you can check out the link in the description down below. There you can choose out of over 200 markets, out of multiple packages that we offer, where we push out daily updates, we give you entry zones, we give you target zones. And if you're just here for the free content, free value, that's fine as well. But if that is the case, please do not forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on the bell notification so you will get notified as soon as we push out these free analyses for you. It's great having you here. Up until the next one, take care. Bye bye.